Just let your soul glow. Just let it shine through. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just let your soul glow, baby. A feeling oh so silky smooth. Just let it shine through, yeah. Just let your soul glow, baby. All sugar. Just let your soul glow. Just let it shine through, yeah, yeah, yeah. Just let your soul glow, baby. Feel it all so silky smooth. Just let it shine through, yeah. Just let your soul glow, baby. All sugar, yeah. Let it glow, 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 let it. Help me out, fellas. Let it glow, let it glow, let it. Said I want you. Let it glow, let it.
Let that soul glow, brothers and sisters. Let that soul glow. Let that light that's in your mind, that light that's in your heart, shine forth, imaging the Creator. That is our leadoff song in SAPS, brothers and sisters. We are reminded that we are to image the Father, that we are to reflect His light, His righteousness. I want to welcome everyone here to our first and inaugural Sinaitic Light and SAPS meeting. We have quite a bit to talk about this evening, a nice strong overview so you can understand what to expect from both programs. If you signed up for SAPS, we're going to be on a nice 3-year journey. If you signed up for Sinaitic Light, you're going to be in a nice year and a half journey, perhaps. But let's go ahead and open up with prayer, because I certainly don't want to take up everyone's time. I think most of you know that I'm somewhat long-winded. I love to talk, and Elohim has given me something to talk about. So I'm going to try not to infringe upon the sanctity of your time this evening. But we're going to go ahead and open up with prayer. Holy and gracious Father Yah, in the name of your Son, Yeshua the Anointed, our priest and king, we come before you, Father Yah, to praise your name and to thank you, Father, for this day. We want to thank you for this community. We want to thank you for the life that you have given us. We want to thank you for the security, the protection, the wisdom, the knowledge, the understanding. But most certainly, holy and gracious Father Yah, we want to place a special emphasis upon the grace that you so generously bestow upon us, the grace of time, the grace of mercy, the grace of opportunity to continue to do a reflection of where we are spiritually, juxtaposed to where we should be based upon the expectations that you have revealed to us through your word. Father Yah, we want to apologize, and we want to confess our transgressions before you. We want to take full responsibility for missing the mark, these reasonable and obtainable expectations that you have conveyed to us through your servants, the prophets, your son, Yeshua, and the apostles. Once again, holy and gracious Father Yah, we ask that you bless us today as children of your righteousness. We ask that you bless this meeting and this convocation, if you will. We ask that you bless the programs that we create that's designed to exegete you, to reveal your truth, reveal your righteousness, to reveal your expectations, the expectations that you have laid before us in the Tanakh, as well as the Brit Kadashah, the New Testament. Father Yah, this evening, we want to make special petitions before you. We want to petition you, Father Yah, for peace, for wisdom, for knowledge, for understanding, for the ability to disseminate your word to those who are humble in heart and mind, those who are willing to fully embrace your truth, to be convicted by your truth, and to use it to renew the spirit of their minds as it has renewed the spirit of our minds, that we might be transformed into an image that you will be pleased with. We ask, Holy and Gracious Father Yah, that you hear our prayer and our petition for security, that you provide us with stability, that you protect us from the uncleanness of this system, that you bless our households as we live in them, as we exit them, as we return from our journey back to our homes, that you bless us holistically. We ask that you open up the eyes of our Adamic brothers and sisters, those who are outside of the Sinaitic covenant, the new covenant that Yeshua has ratified in his blood, who lives to intercede upon our iniquity as a priest and intercessor. We ask that you open their eyes as you have opened our eyes, and bring us together in one body as you have prophesied in the book of Ezekiel. We call upon your name, Holy and Gracious Father Yah, because there is no other name that is higher than yours, nor the name that's greater than yours. And we make this prayer and petition before you with a sincere heart, in humility, in the name of our King and priest, Yeshua HaMashiach ben Dawid, we pray. Amen. All right, brothers and sisters, let's go ahead and get started here. Let me pull up our presentation. You got the presentation, Kalaya? How about now? Okay. Let's see. All right, SAPS and Sinaitic Light overview. I want to thank everyone for attending this meeting. We sent out invitations to nearly 400 or 500 people, and I don't know if Zoom is going to be able to accommodate it. I don't know if everyone is going to show up. That's typically how this starts. I want to start off with some scholarship, brothers and sisters, because I'm a theologian and scholar, and I'm going to talk to you about scholarship. All of our compositions are written in a scholastic manner that's extremely important to me, because it minimizes various degrees of relativism. As human beings, we do have a little bit of relativity, some bias in some areas. But when we look at critical scholarship, what it does in most cases is negate those biases that we have, because we're being compelled to follow the data. And that is extremely important. SAPS is going to teach you, as well as Sinaitic Light, to follow empirical data. It's going to compel you to step outside of your emotional ties. We're talking about ties that you might have to various aspects of Neo-Christendom, Messianic Judaism, Black Hebrew Israelism, respectfully. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, brothers and sisters, and we're going to navigate those seas. I wanted to start off with Dr. Frederick Bruce. He's certainly a giant in his field of biblical exegesis and theology. I cite from him quite a bit. I certainly don't agree with everything that he says. He is a neo-Christian. He is radically opposed to a number of doctrinal beliefs that we hold to be true. But no one person is any one thing. We're all good and bad. We all have, proclivities towards good, proclivities towards bad. In scholarship, you're going to see everybody getting some things right, getting some things wrong, in some cases, some things right, most things wrong. I would argue that we don't have the luxury to get anything wrong. I would love to fully embrace that, but the reality is that we are human beings and we are still learning and growing. And there are going to be, at times, some things that we might overlook. Claudia, you got a lot of people trying to come in here. Okay. All right. So this is what the late Dr. Bruce says. The main features which characterize the early church of Jerusalem have provided an example for Christian churches ever since. All who believed were together and devoted themselves to the apostolic teaching. That's very important. Bruce is giving you the foundation of the Bible, or the doctrine of the New Testament. He is saying that it is essentially predicated upon apostolic orthodoxy, or the apostles' teaching. We have the apostolic fellowship, the breaking of bread, the services of prayer, mutual care, and gospel witness. The apostolic teaching was a teaching which the apostles had received from Yeshua in order that they might impart it to others, teaching them, as he said, to observe all that I have commanded you. To this day, the surest criterion of an apostolic church is its adherence to the apostolic teaching. We need to understand what the apostles understood was the gospel truth. We need to understand what the apostles' commission consisted of with regards to, Elohim or Yeshua commissioning the apostles to go out and teach. Teach what? Teach what? An unimpeachable pedigree, not that any church can produce, one which would satisfy the strictest historical scrutiny, is no substitute for adherence to the apostles' teaching and fellowship. Much later in the first century, John emphasizes that those who abandon the apostolic teaching or advance beyond it in a direction which the apostles would not have countenance cannot claim to belong to the apostles' fellowship. I wholeheartedly agree, because Paul reminded the Thessalonians that they were to only follow the teachings that they presented to them, that they were to stand upon these teachings alone. The apostles kept all of the holy days. The apostles observed the Torah in the strictest fashion, brothers and sisters. They did not have a doctrine that stated that the Torah was abrogated. They fully embraced it, but they braced it in the righteousness of the Messiah. There's a lot that we have to talk about in SAPS and Sinaitic Light. We have several compositions that speak to this particular point. The Apostles' Fellowship carries with it fellowship with the Father and with his Son, Yeshua the Anointed, and is marked by faithfulness to that teaching which was given and received from the beginning. When Jerusalem was refounded as a very important, this is scholarship, not my opinion. When Jerusalem was refounded as a Gentile city in AD 135, a new church of Jerusalem came into being. But this was a completely Gentile Christian church and had no continuity with the Church of Jerusalem of apostolic days. That's our argument, brothers and sisters. Many scholars know this. Many scholars understand this. And what are they saying succinctly? Is that the Gentile church introduced a form of Christianity that is not apostolic. They introduced a doctrine that does not coincide with the Messiah's teachings, with Paul's teachings, with James' teachings, with any of the gospel writers' teachings. And I wholeheartedly support that. Dr. Shay Cohen, professor of Hebrew literature and philosophy in the Department of Near Eastern Languages and Civilizations at Harvard, writes, Christian literature from about 100 CE to 150 CE is uniformly hostile to Jews and Judaism. Again, we're looking at history and we're looking at scholarship, which is going to help you understand why we have Sinaitic Apologetics School and why we have Sinaitic Light. And for those of you who are new to this forum, you might not know me, but you might know of me. But I have a particular teaching style. There is a reason, and I want to share it with you before we get into the actual nuts and bolts of these two programs. The hostility from the Gentiles to Israelites is due to a Gentile takeover of Messianic Judaism, what we also refer to as primitive Christianity, which has led to a new form of Christianity. From the 2nd century to this present day, the theology, Christianity, Messianic Judaism, Black Judaism, Hebrew Israelism, and Torah Unitarianism that is being taught is not biblical, is not the gospel, and is not apostolic. This is not my opinion. It is the empirical consensus from a myriad of critical scholars who have contrasted biblical Christianity with neo-Christianity, or what we refer to as modern Christianity, underscored with my personal experiences as an academic. Hence, both empirical and experiential data argues that we have been divested from the apostles' teachings for some 1,923 years. And these are facts. Let's look at a video clip between Dr. Bart Ehrman and Dr. Michael Lacuna.
Would Jesus or the apostles recognize that definition of Christian if you denied the cross in?
My view is that Jesus and the apostles would not recognize an evangelical Christian as a Christian. My view is that because evangelical Christianity is so far removed from anything Jesus ever preached.
Okay. So again, as I said before, brothers and sisters, scholars, many scholars know that what nearly 3 billion people are teaching, what they're practicing, is not biblical Christianity. You're not practicing the gospel. We've never practiced the gospel. And that is due to a systemic agenda that was established in the 2nd century, early 2nd century AD. Okay, let's get into the motivation for SAPS and a little bit about me. You need to know who your teachers are. So here's a little bit about my background. I hold a doctorate in theology and apologetics, a postgraduate degree in New Testament exegesis and biblical studies, graduate degree in theology and secular studies in Hasidic Judaism. So I understand Judaism and I understand the internal organs of Christianity. So I speak with authority with regards to both disciplines. Author and co-author of 2 books, Heart of Circumcision, which is an in-house book that I wrote with several congregants for an in-house study. and the anatomy of baptism. Some of you may have studied the anatomy of baptism. It's a precursor to you being baptized, at least through our community, and author of our apologetic treatises. So all of the apologetic lessons that you're going to be reading, and most of the Sinaitic Light lessons that you're going to be reading, I wrote them. Congregational overseer of the New Covenant Congregation of Israel and Tabernacle Elohim, Charlotte and Minnesota. Executive director and president of NCCI Universum Sinaitic Apologetics School, scholar in residence at the New Covenant Congregation of Israel, and ad hoc mentor and tutor for Fuller and Liberty Theological Seminary students. So that's a little bit about me. What's the motivation for SAPS? My motivation for our two programs, brothers and sisters, I want to say a motivational factor or factors are pain, hurt, anger, disappointments, and frustration. I'm talking about being misled, lied to, misguided, manipulated by religious leaders of all denominations, in particular, Neo-Christendom and Hebrew Israelism. I come from both communities. My desire is to give back, brothers and sisters, what was lost, what was hidden, and what was taken. That is my objective. That is my mission. And it's not just a liberation initiative by itself, but it is a liberation initiative, brothers and sisters, so we can get back to the Father, so we can fully embrace him as he has always intended for us to do, outside of these obstacles that the devil has placed in our path. I want to get back to our Father. I want to fully embrace him. I want to love him. I want to appreciate him. I want to defend him. I want to vindicate wrongdoings done against him. That is the apologist side of me. And everyone that's in this forum this evening, I believe that you share in those sentiments in some way, shape, or form. We can grow together, we can learn together, we can move together, and we can, as a collective, liberate other brothers and sisters who are caught in this system. All of us have been caught in the system. We were born in the system. This system is systematically designed to war against the Creator. And as you begin to study these apologetic lessons, you're going to see this as clear as day. None of them are based upon my personal views and opinions. My opinions mean absolutely nothing. What I do is I present a thesis, an argument, and I interact with the antagonizers or an opponent, someone who holds a counter position, because I believe that you need to see both sides, not just the side that I'm arguing, but I need for you to see the side that I'm arguing against. And it's fair for you to see their views and perspectives. And then I proceed forth with dismantling them. And it's not difficult to do, brothers and sisters, if you have made a decision to just simply follow the data, but to follow the data with humility. This isn't about Gnosticism, gaining knowledge alone. This is about how we procure knowledge and how we use this knowledge to become better people that reflects Yah's righteousness. So SAPS levels the playing field and allows us the opportunity to recapture what was stolen. There are nearly 20,000, and I do reiterate, 20,000 different Christian denominations or doctrines. all proposing the way they understand the Bible is the way God intended for us to understand it. Yet, as we study the Bible, we understand that in the first century, we're talking about the apostles' doctrine, the apostles' gospel. Paul said that there is one faith, not faiths, one faith, one church, one master, that will be Yeshua, not masters, not Christ, but one Christ, one Mashiach, one Spirit. There's one El and Father, and there's only one mikvah, one baptism. Paul then admonishes believers to stand firm in this one faith. And here we go, brothers and sisters. This is where, at least in our community in the tabernacle, we are somewhat challenged. Not only to stand firm in this one faith, but to also rebuke any new doctrine of Christianity or person that emerges that is not predicated upon the Christianity they inherited from Christ. This is what Paul is arguing. If you allow various ideologies, suppositions to enter into the gospel, then you no longer have the gospel that Christ left for us. And I want to remind everyone that what Yeshua said, the words that you hear are not mine. They are the ones who sent me. The teaching that you hear is not mine. It belongs to the one who sent me. So this is about Elohim's gospel. This is about his assembly, his congregation. This is about, his plan of redemption. It is about how we get back to him based upon the ordained processes and procedures that he has revealed through the gospel. I'm going to reiterate and repeat to you, that was stolen. That was hidden. That was manipulated, and we have an opportunity to get it back. All of us are independent agents of the Creator. All of us are little theologians. All of us are little evangelists. We just need to know what to evangelize. NCCI Universum was created to mirror the urgency conveyed in the gospel to enrich God's children with divine enlightenment that comes from his word, to right the wrongs that have been done to him and us by the wickedness of man through the doctrines of Satan led by the Gentile churches. Therefore, Yah inspires the following. I want us to take special note to these passages. Yah said, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge." I love knowledge. I believe in knowledge. I believe in being on the journey of knowledge, primarily because our Father said that what we have is insufficient. We need to have knowledge of the Creator, and that is a life journey. He says, because you have rejected knowledge, and since you have forgotten the law of your God, I also will forget your children. Isaiah 3:12. Childish leaders oppress my people, and women rule over them. O my people, your leaders mislead you. They send you down the wrong road. How do you know if you're being misled, brothers and sisters? If you have a fundamental understanding of any theological topic that's being presented to you by your leader, you can test the veracity of what is being presented. But you need to have a fundamental understanding in order to do that. Isaiah 9:16. For the leaders of the people have misled them. Look at what happens. They have led them down the path of destruction. The Most High is going to hold you responsible for your due diligence in the procurement of divine information and enlightenment, brothers and sisters. As he said here in Isaiah 3:12, my people, your leaders mislead you, they send you down the wrong road. Let's look at Matthew 15:14. Yeshua says, leave these people alone, leave these leaders alone. Why? Because they are blind guides. And notice what he says. If the blind lead the blind, both will fall into a pit. Both will be destroyed. We need to find a way to negate that. And our solution is through Hebraic knowledge, understanding our ancestors' culture, understanding the legacy that they left for us that has been minimized, that have been spoken of reductively, and basically stolen by the Gentile assembly. We want it back. And we have a process to reprocure that which was taken. How about 1 Peter 4:18? And if it is hard for the righteous to be saved, what will become of the ungodly and the sinner? This right here invokes thought, conviction, introspection. If it is hard for righteous people to be saved, our best shot is to make sure that we are fully embracing Elohim's righteousness and we are outside of self-righteousness and pseudo-righteousness that has been propagated by other religious denominations. My observation is that there is a Christianity, but it is being overshadowed by Christianities that are demonic. The vision that I would like to express is to envision men of Elohim and women of virtue coming together to understand biblical Christianity from a Hebraic perspective, since the prophets were Hebrews, Christ was a Hebrew, the apostles were Hebrews, and the Judeo-Christians, Jew and Gentiles, were led by a Hebrew agenda called the gospel. Dr. Bruce said the doctrine of the Hebrews was abrogated and negated by the Gentile church in the 2nd century, 135. They even have a date. Dr. Shirley Case says the exact same thing, that the Christianity that the world is practicing today is not the Christianity that the apostles practiced. So what is the Christianity that the apostles practiced? It's a Hebraic form of Christianity. NCCI Universal's proposal is that we address this variegation and divestment from the gospel through training within the framework of Hebraic bibliology in a controlled open study form that is interactive with a metrics that measures and tests. I want all of us to learn how to test theorems, test propositions, test suppositions. We don't believe it because you say it. We don't accept it because you say it. We believe it and we accept it because we've tested it and we found it to be true. This is the virtue of the Bereans in the book of Acts. They searched daily in the scriptures to see what Paul stated was true. They searched daily. And so this is the critical mindset that we need to have. And this is the loyalty that we need to have to the Creator for the procurement of his truth and righteousness. The objective is to give back what was lost and taken since the demise of the apostles, give back the understanding of who Yah is and how he wants to be served and worshiped. Capturing this knowledge will lead to enlightenment, liberation, peace, holiness, and righteousness, as well as repair the breach that exists between us and Yah. So let's talk about Hebraic bibliology, because this is where you're going to be studying. If you're in Sinaitic Light a year or so, this is where you're going to be studying for the next 3.5 years in SAPS. Hebraic bibliology is the study of the Bible from a purely Hebraic perspective. I have to make sure, brothers and sisters, that when I write these treatises, that there are no elements of Neo-Christendom in them, that how we understand the Bible, Old and New Testament, and we have various methodologies and hermeneutics that will make sure that we are following a Hebraic model rather than a Gentiles model in understanding the Bible. Hebraic bibliology is a study of the Bible from a purely Hebraic perspective. It is the study of biblical topics void of personal suppositions, organizational suppositions, and traditions. Hebraic bibliology assists the participant in becoming biblically acculturated. How do we do this? By training you lexically, training you culturally, training you historically, and training you textually. We're talking about how we read the scriptures and how we use the text to interpret one another. And there are rules in this. The objective of entertaining the concept of Hebraic bibliology is to reach an understanding of what Yah has relayed to us through his prophets between the periods of BC 1500 and AD 100. The importance of Hebraic bibliology. Hebraic bibliology provides the participant with an unadulterated understanding of the Bible from both a Jewish and primitive Christian perspective. And when I say Jewish perspective, brothers and sisters, we're not talking about Halakhism, which is Jewish traditions. We've purged that from the faith. I was trained in components of that, places that I've worshiped and studied with. Halakhism was a staple within the faith. And again, I didn't know any better. I just thought that, well, this is just what you do. And again, when you know better, you do better. So we're looking at Hebraic bibliology, but from a Sinaitic perspective. That's the only perspective that I'm interested in. What did Yah give us from Mount Sinai? Our life as a whole is supposed to be processed, evaluated, assessed Sinaitically. That's the model, that's the template that we use. Our social perspectives, our business perspectives, relational perspectives, theological perspectives, political perspectives, all of your perspectives begin with Sinai first, in the faith of Yeshua the Anointed. Hebraic bibliology allows the participants to capture the author's message without interpolation by using Jewish and Christian hermeneutics. In SAPS, you're going to learn everything that you need to know about hermeneutics, which means the science of interpretation. It is important to me, and I would say to other brothers in this community who are pretty well astute in Hebraic bibliology, that you understand the science of interpretation, because this is going to help you if you are a man in your house to be the priest of your house, to be the guide, the leader, the teacher of your house as Elohim has ordained it, but you're going to be doing it with light. In other words, you're going to be doing it with knowledge. If you are a woman, you will be a complement. And this is what Elohim has ordained with Adam and Eve. And that's a fun apologetic too, by the way. I can't wait for us to get back into that. Anyway, Jewish and Christian hermeneutics to induce and deduce the author's message so that we might follow Yah's will in an unambiguous manner. Hebraic bibliology will create the skill sets needed to remove subjectivity. We're talking about relativism, what I think. Well, this is how I look at it. This is how I feel. This is what I believe. We need to try to stay as far away from that as possible. What does Elohim say? What did the Messiah say? What did the apostles say? And that's how we should be processing information and establishing dialogue with one another, not based upon what I personally think or feel. Remember, the Spirit of Elohim says there is a way that seems right to man, but the ends thereof is death. Trust not in your own understanding. Lean not upon your own understanding, but in all your ways, trust in Yah, and he shall guide your steps. So this is a journey for all of us to get back to the Father, to understand what he wants us to do and how he wants us to do it. It's not just looking at the consequential actions, the results of this being salvation, but we're talking about in the immediate response to obedience and doing our due diligence, procuring the blessings, the continued blessings from Yah, security, stability, prosperity, brothers and sisters. There's a lot. Hebraic bibliology will create the skill sets needed to remove subjectivity in the participants' view on theological topics. This will occur because participants will acquire the skill to test and measure your former suppositions, your present supposition, and newly revealed suppositions to establish an absolute view on the subject at hand. Let's talk about SAPS now. How much time I got here? Okay. To accomplish our objective, NCCI has created two programs, SAPS and Sinaitic Light Bible Study. In SAPS, each student will learn Hebraic bibliology through a series of academically written and peer-reviewed treatises, which consists of about 200 topics. Some of these lessons have multiple topics. So we're looking at maybe 200 topics, perhaps a little more, maybe just a little bit less, but not 200 lessons. You have about 150 compositions, and maybe a little bit more than that. Each participant, how does the program work? You will receive your study, your lesson a week in advance. At the end of the week, there will be a review of the material studied. During the review, the facilitator, that'll be myself, will give a PowerPoint presentation like you're witnessing now, and will then ask for volunteers for the Q&A section. So there is an exam after every lesson. If you get your questions wrong, brothers and sisters, it's okay. You're not going to go to hell. So don't worry about it, right? You just simply identify where you made your errors, why you made the errors, and you fix them. There's an essay after each lesson. If you'd like to write an essay, essentially an abstract of what you've learned, you have an opportunity to read your essay. The essay is for you. It's not for me. What it does is it allows you to write down what you have learned from the lesson, and it helps you with your retention ability to retain the information. That's the purpose of the essay. Number 4, once the study is over, the facilitator opens the floor for discussions pertaining specifically to the topic. No other topics will be entertained. So if I'm talking about the Sabbath day, for example, if we're having a lesson on that, and you raise your hand in the room and you say, Aria, I want to talk about Christmas. We're not going to do that, brothers and sisters, because that's confusing. It takes people away from the argument. It takes people away from the study. So we're only going to talk about, discuss, and review the study for the week and anything that's in that study. That's all we're going to do. We're doing this because we need to retain order and to make sure that it is edifying for everybody who is participating. In closing, the facilitator will briefly discuss the next lesson and close the session. And we're going to be doing this, brothers and sisters, like I said before, for the next 3.5 years. We'll have 2 weeks reprieve or 2-week break. So we will have 12 weeks of study. We'll have 12 lessons. And then we'll take a 2-week break. Then we'll come back another 12 weeks, 12 lessons, a 2-week break. And we will do that until we graduate. Let's talk about Sinaitic Light. Sinaitic Light program works essentially the same way. Each student will learn Hebraic bibliology through a series of academically written and peer-reviewed treatises, which consists of about 48 lessons. So there's a marginal difference between 48 and like over 200, right? Okay, so you now understand why it's called Sinaitic Light. Each participant will study the lesson a week in advance. During the review, the facilitator calls on participants to read a paragraph or paragraphs and asks the questions that are in the footnote of each study or the quiz that is a separate document. So Sinaitic Light is different. For those of you who all received the Sinaitic Light document, there are 2 documents that I sent to everybody. There is a Sinaitic Light document, and then there is a Sinaitic Light overview document and a SAPS overview document. If you notice in the footnotes, there are questions. And so this is going to be your responsibility over the course of the week to answer the questions that's in the footnote. Now, what we've also done is we have added some higher level compositions within Sinaitic Light, more pages, stronger vocabulary, maybe a little bit more study in terms of its intensity. And those quizzes are not in the footnotes, or the questions are not in the footnote. This is a separate quiz altogether. It works a little bit like Sinaitic Apologetics School. And so we did that because we want to try to get you ready, if you choose, to enter into Sinaitic Apologetics. Once the study is over, the facilitator opens the floor for discussions pertaining specifically to the topic. No other topics will be entertained, so we may retain order and edification. The facilitator will briefly discuss the next lesson and close the session. That's Sinaitic Light. The mission of this initiative is to create doctrinal synergy between us and Yah so that we may have an opportunity to understand his will without doctrinal or denominational relativism. Yah is a spirit, and he desires for us as his imagers to worship him in spirit and truth. We were all created in the image and likeness of Yah, and we have been called to be servants by walking as his son walked, in truth, sincerity, love, and righteousness, but in absolute knowledge of the Father's will pertaining to all things social, relational, theological, and salvific. NCCI Universal Bible Study programs is how we will be able to meet Yah's expectations if we approach our studies with humility, commitment, diligence, and sincerity. We will be able to recapture what was lost and stolen from us. Let's talk about some of the benefits of SAPS. You will procure a high academic understanding of theology, comparative religion, church history, Judaism, and hermeneutics, which will allow you to enter the ministry in any capacity. A number of our SAPS students use these lessons in seminary, brothers and sisters, and they have their own testimonies with regards to their engagement with the professors in seminary, solely predicated upon the SAPS lessons that they studied. 2, you will acquire an understanding of how to read the Bible Hebraically and properly exegete problematic passages to a degree. You will have access to updated SAPS treatises and new treatises for the life of the school by request. I'm always updating our SAPS lessons, brothers and sisters, always updating them, because as I'm writing new lessons, I'm coming across new scholarship, updated scholarship. I'm coming across arguments that I like. And I'm saying, you know, I wrote this in a high Christology or in a nomism lesson. This is some very good information. And so you're always thinking how to be better, how to be better, how to be a better apologist, how to be a better scholar, how to be a better student, how to be a better leader, how to be a better biblicist. And this is what I want. This is what I want SAPS to do for us, to make us better holistically in every facet, every aspect of our life. We have a lot of social science lessons, brothers and sisters, that, yes, are theological based. We have a lot of political science lessons. So, this isn't just reading Genesis and Mark and Matthew and Revelation. We are talking about life as a whole from a theological perspective solely based upon the Hebrew text. Elohim has given us a model of how to live our lives. We have a lot of lessons on relationships, a lot of relationships on marriages and parenting and, vetting prospective partners, males and females, that once again is bound within the confines of this Bible that we're reading, that's often overlooked, which will account for why so many relationships are jacked up. So what we're going to do is we're going to at least equip everybody with the resources that's needed for introspection, for reflection, that comes from God himself. Number 4, you will be copied on scholarly correspondence that is informative and copied on general correspondence that is oppositional. So what I'm often doing, brothers and sisters, is that in the SAPS community, because it is an academic community, brothers and sisters, when I am engaged in conversation with different people, let's just say entry-level theologues, we're talking about people who want to be, theologians, and they've done quite a bit of work, but yet they might still be lacking. And sometimes, they'll call me or they'll send an email. They want to engage on what we call a qualibet, which is a theological argument. And depending on the spirit of that person, I might engage them. When I do, I engage them apologetically, and I'll send that out to all the saplings so you can put that in your library. We're still covering a lot of theological topics. Some of these things may be in SAPS. Some of these things are outside of SAPS. I want it as a matter of record. So as a SAPS student, you'll have access to all of that correspondence. 5, you will receive a NCCI Universum diploma after graduation. And I know we have a lot of saplings here that have graduated, and you're saying, okay, well, where my diploma at? That's on me. So what? Well, I wanted to have our crest embossed in that diploma. And, Kalia saying that she's having some challenge with getting it embossed. So once we determine, because I just love our shield, but once we determine whether or not we can have it embossed in the diploma, in the case, and so forth, then we'll have our graduation party, hand out our diplomas, et cetera, et cetera. Benefits of Sinaitic Light. You will procure a better understanding of theology, comparative religion, church history, and Judaism. 2, you will acquire an understanding of how to read the Bible Hebraically and properly exegete problematic passages. 3, you may repeat the program as often as you like. Invite friends and family members to participate with you in the studies. How can these 2 programs become more beneficial to you and assist you with understanding and retaining the information? because it is a lot of information. So here's my observation, brothers and sisters. Number one, don't wait to the last minute to study your lessons. Try to find a way to get a head start. Sometimes saplings, as soon as we, finish reviewing a lesson and we drop the new lesson, some will, depending on how late it is, begin the study then. If I'm able to drop the lesson early, you have a head start. But please do not wait to the last minute to study your lesson, because you don't want to just be cramming the information. You want to understand what you're reading. 2, dedicate at least an hour a day to your studies. 3, try not to miss any of the review sessions. The review sessions that we have every Friday night in Sinaitic Light are very important. There's additional material covered in the review. People ask questions. Sometimes some of the most, some of the most enjoyable moments comes when, brothers or sisters will ask questions that I really haven't thought about it. And we have an opportunity to kind of dig into it and just hammer some things out. And this is what the forum is really about. 4, have an open mind. What you're about to experience, brothers and sisters, is new. And everything that you have learned since you were born is going to be challenged. And it's not my opinion. It's not based upon what I think, feel, or believe. Everything that you have learned in any of your denominations, I don't care if you were Jehovah's Witness, Pentecostal, Black Hebrew Israelite, a part of this, group, part of that group, Seventh-day Adventist, all of that is going to be challenged. So have an open mind with the information, look at the data, just follow the data, follow the scholarship, brothers and sisters. Procure a Bible buddy or participate in a study group. Last night, Dr. Amaja was talking about her Bible buddies, and so I know we have Sister Rhonda and Sister Ephrata is going to be there. So that's 3 that's going to be Bible buddies. Bible buddies are very important, brothers and sisters, because they help you with accountability. You are able to acquire so much clarity when you are in a study group. Make it fun, enrich it by studying with friends, family members, associates who are in SAPS or who are a part of the Sinaitic Light group. Let's talk about the copyright. All SAPS lessons were and are written by Ariad Nasik, that is me, and reviewed by various scholars with the intent to publish them at some point. I started writing these, tag on it. Okay. I started writing these lessons probably about, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago, over time. And ideally, what I wanted to do is to have them published. And I don't know when that's going to take place, but here you have all of these lessons just kind of sitting in a folder, and I'm reviewing them and studying them. And what I recognize, brothers and sisters, is that on a congregational level, people aren't trained in how to read the Bible, how to process the information that the Bible wants to convey to us, because it requires a skill set. And when I look at everything holistically, just like I was lost, confused, thought I had answers, realized that I didn't, realized that I was parroting other scholarly viewpoints that were wrong, pastoral viewpoints that were wrong. It basically became the impetus to write scholarly treatments on subjects that I had an interest in. And so this is what you all will be studying. And as I've said before, the objective at some point was to have them published. So they're not to be shared. They're not to be shared with anybody who is not in SAPS. And this is the reason why you have the Casting Pearls document. All Sinaitic Light lessons were written either by myself or SAPS graduates. I'm very proud of the brothers and sisters who took time to take their learning, take their training, their newly developed and found skills to write these Bible study lessons. They are extremely well written, well researched. And so you all have an opportunity to study a number of these lessons. They are also copyrighted, and they cannot be shared with anybody outside of the Sinaitic Light community. Hence, again, the reason Sinaitic Light participants are signing what we call the Casting Pearls document, as well as SAPS students signing the Casting Pearls document. Okay, so Clyde, you want me to go ahead and open the floor, or do you want to step on in and do your thing? All right, so why don't you do this? Why don't you go ahead, and then I'll come back and I'll open up the floor for questions. All right. All right, go ahead. I can what? All right. I think you're muted because I can't hear you.
Yeah, I'm starting now. Okay, shalom, everyone. Along with the Moray, I'm excited that you all have chosen to take this journey with us. As he mentioned, those few key items to remember: keep your head up, remain motivated and encouraged, and a Bible buddy or a study group will be most beneficial during your time with either group that you decide to go with, whether it's SAPS or Sinaitic Light Bible Study. So with that said, I wanted to take a moment just to kind of give you guys a preview of how you guys will receive your lessons. First, I'll start with Sinaitic Light Bible Study. So you will receive your Bible lessons through Google Classroom. You will be assigned a facilitator and a co-facilitator. I'm just clicking on this group right here. This is Brother Melchiah and Elder Saul's group. And basically you will see all the information here as far as like, this is just a test module right here that I just set up just so you guys can get an understanding of what you guys will see when the actual module is ready to go. So this would be week 1 per se, and you would have an introduction video that will be from the Moray. Then you'll have your composition, and then you'll have your quiz. You'll have all that information set up for you. So like he said, a week in advance, you'll go in, get all your information, do your quiz, have your study group session, or have your session with your Bible buddy, and then you guys will come together on whatever day your study group meets, and you will talk about the session. So when you log in, you'll basically see this information here, and then it will provide all the weeks, for 48 weeks or whatever the amount is. You'll have all your lessons there. And you will use this link to go to your weekly conference calls and things like that. So basically, that is going to give you everything you need. This right here under classwork will show you every week of, if you're in week 4, you can always go back to week 4, retrieve that information. Week 1, you can go back and receive that information. Again, this is all test material. This right here will show your teacher. So if you need to engage them, send them an email or whatever, you can do that. And down here, this will show all the students that are in your class. So just a quick overview. Again, this is for Sinaitic Light Bible Study students only. Now, for SAPS students, you will go to this console, and it is NCCI board host. And basically, you will get all your information here. So this is from the previous class. So every week, I post the lesson. So we started back here. We started with we started with Hebrew. So basics of biblical Hebrew, week 1, you'll see your curriculum. You click on that. You'll have access to the drive, which has all the information. We also post the recording. So say, you couldn't make it to class, you had to work late or you had to travel, whatever. We will post the recording as soon as we can. And then you guys can go back and review it anytime. And then this will show your assignment exercises and so forth. So basically that is it. And all this information will be provided for you during your whole 3.5 years. My recommendation is that you, all the information will be in Google Documents, so you can download it, and it's shareable. I'm sharing it to you. Again, like Aria said, you signed the Casting Pearls document saying that you will not, share the information outside of your group. But you can definitely save this information to your hard drive, to your own Google Documents, whatever the case may be. So you will continuously have access to this information. And as I said, every week you'll see this is SAPS level 11, week 10 on this date, and you just click on it and you'll see all the information you need. Again, an introduction video, the composition, and the quiz. So that is for Sinaitic Apologetics School. And then how you will, I wanted to make a special note of this for several reasons. The tuition schedule. All payments must be paid through these links. We cannot receive funds directly to PayPal or through Cash App or through Zelle, because these things are paid through this payment link or payment console that we use. And a lot of times folks come to me and say, Kalaya, can you tell me if I paid for week 1 or level 1 or level 2? And, we're in level 10. So when I go back and review if I have payment, I'm going to go to this console here and say, okay, Johnny made a payment, or I don't see a payment. And then Johnny comes back to me and says, yes, Clay, I made a payment over Zelle. Well, that's not the proper payment protocol. So I'm not going to look there. And we need to make sure that we're all doing this the exact same way so that, like I said, we can keep accountability for who is paying and how much they paid. And it'll be easier for both of us if we have to go back and check, if you guys have made a payment or whatever the case may be. The second thing here are the due dates. So The application and processing fee is due December 1st of this year. Sinaitic Apologetics School for Biblical Hebrew, it's due December 15th. Biblical Greek is due January 21st. Now, all of the other weeks are always due before the previous level. So for instance, level 1 is due before the first week of Biblical Greek. We do this because we want to make sure that you receive the information, because if we don't receive payment, you lose access to all your SAPS material. So make sure that payment is made on time for you to receive your information, or you will be locked out of the SAPS material. So this is the payment schedule, the payment links. You can click on them. You can pay anytime. Again, please make sure that you use these links to make your payment. I think that's all, but I think someone had their hand raised. For those of us who enroll in the first exam, will those videos be available for us? Okay, so those videos I had mentioned multiple times that it was your responsibility to download those videos, because you're not going to have access to this material when we start the second level of SAPS. It was requested that you guys download all the videos, all the compositions and quizzes, so that you would have access to those. So if you had access to this particular board host during the first round, you will no longer have access during the second round. Now, I can try to help you get the material, but there is a lot of stuff here. That's why I recommend that you guys save your information every week. I mean, that's a lot of material. Were there any more questions? Is there a complete syllabus with a schedule? I understand there will be some changes. Yes. So there will be a schedule that you will get when I send out the calendar for your Zoom meetings. And those dates can change based upon if we have new moons or a holy day. But being that we know when those holy days are and things like that, when I send out the Zoom calendar, those should be set unless something comes up and we have to move a session for whatever reason. But you will get a current calendar at the beginning of each level. If I still have access, I'll go in and download them. Okay. Yeah, I've actually removed a lot of them because I'm in the middle of uploading the new stuff. But yeah, most of that stuff is gone. But you can certainly try. Or maybe get with someone maybe that you studied with and they can help you. I'm not sure. Let's see. I downloaded all the links, took several days. Yep. Yeah. It's a lot. That's why I recommend you do it, each week, because there's a lot of stuff. And if you have access, or if you have a Google Drive, when you open the composition or the quiz, it should automatically save to your Google Drive under shared items. So it may be there, LEI, if you want to go and take a look. The last thing I wanted to share is that SAPS meetings will take place via Zoom right now. There may be some changes, but right now it will take place via a Zoom link. You have to be registered with Zoom. You have to have an account. So you just can't go in as a guest or anything like that. You have to be registered when I send you the link at the beginning of each level. So remember that. Sinaitic Light Bible Study will meet via Google Meet, as I showed you guys earlier. If you have a Google email account, great. Yeah, you're right. Is there anything that I missed, Arya?
Not that I can think of.
Clifton Robinson asked me a question, and maybe I should share it. Let me go back. So he asked a question, if this were in a classroom setting, how many credits would you consider SAPS to be? That'll help me truly understand if it's attainable or if I should do Sinaitic Light Bible Study. So, and Arya, correct me if I'm wrong, my response to him was, great question. In my estimation, I would say 3 credits per 12 weeks. These classes are high level, most comparable to graduate level, to a graduate level class. Hebrew and Greek lessons are graduate level because I created those from my master's level degree. So those are master's level. Now, I don't want to say this to discourage anybody because it is not over the top. I encourage you to do SAPS for me over Sinaitic Light Bible Study, but I understand the time and so forth it takes, but definitely you're going to put more time into SAPS, but it will definitely be worth it. You have anything?
Yeah, you gave the right answer. I wrote these lessons on a postgraduate level, and I did that for one purpose. I want all of our students to be able to sit down with a scholar. For example, Travis. We showed Travis yesterday in our presentation for John 1:18. Travis, and again, I don't know Travis. I just found a clip that was a good antithesis to my argument. And so he's at Cambridge. He's what we call ABD, is all but dissertation. So he is a PhD candidate, and he's waiting to go through his dissertation. And if you listen to the language, he is talking about enveloping. He is talking about parallelism. All of this language you guys have in your SAPS. It's what I was taught. And this language exists for a reason. This language is not here just to, make a person sound deep. It's a functional language. Brother Joe yesterday was talking about the chiastic structure of John's prologue, right? Again, this is academy language. And if you're speaking to the average person, they aren't going to have a clue of what you're talking about. But these are the people, the individuals who are spiritual, people who want to have an understanding of the Bible. These are the individuals they go to. And they also go to, and I mean no harm, but I got to be honest, they go to people who are pretend scholars like Creflo Dollar or T.D. Jakes or Geno Jennings or any of these individuals. None of these people are scholars, brothers and sisters, by any stretch of the imagination. Travis, when we saw yesterday, he is a scholar. And I want people in our community to be able to sit down and have a conversation with them about opposing views. And they're going to talk about a chiastic structure. They're going to talk of verbs, prepositions, genitive cases, so forth. Things, like I said before, you right now think are completely irrelevant, but it is very relevant to how we understand the Bible. Hebrew for the Old Testament, Greek for the New Testament. And so, again, scholars in seminary, brothers and sisters, are trained in this. So I want you to listen to me very carefully. they use this to advantage themselves over the naive and the ignorant. So I could have written a Sinaitic Light lesson on a very remedial level. What would have been my contribution to your overall growth in terms of advancing your scriptural acumen, your biblical academic aptitude? It would be zero. And that's not me. I don't do things like this. I compete. I love to compete. By nature, I'm a competitor. I love theology. I love biblical studies. And I want us to be able to compete intellectually, intelligently, dogmatically about what Elohim's will is. And I'm not saying this to be, how would you say, disparagingly presumptive, brothers and sisters. But again, I'm telling you that the majority of people, and perhaps most of you in this form, with the exception of people who took SAPS serious, that graduated, you have no clue of what the Bible is really teaching, because we've never been taught it from our spiritual advisors, our religious leaders. And again, that's not hyperbole, that is a fact. And I think that is an injustice to us as people who want to consult our spiritual advisors to have a better understanding of God's word. It was just not forthcoming. And that has always bothered me. It made me angry. It disappointed me. It frustrated me. And yes, I will be very candid, made me hostile in a number of respects, because Neo-Christendom has monetized religion, and they have gotten away with it because you don't know any better. And I would say that God-centric element that's in all of us has always been tapping on your conscience to say, you know what, this really isn't right. But you couldn't prove it. You couldn't prove it because you don't know how to read and parse Hebrew. You couldn't prove it because you don't know how to read and parse Greek. If you heard Travis yesterday in the presentation, he says, look, when you read John's prologue in Greek, in contradistinction to how it's read in English, you will have two different conclusions. And so, his conclusion, John 1:18, the proper reading is the only begotten God. And of course, I reject that premise. And what I wanted to do was to present to you an academic treatise on why I rejected that premise. Now, all of these arguments that you are reading about in SAPS, I've had these arguments in scholarship. So I'm very confident about the substance, the depth of these arguments, because they have gone through a scholarly review, brothers and sisters. And that's the reason why you're reading them. That's the reason why you're studying them, internalizing them. Some of you may want to move on to the ministry. Some of you may want to be an evangelist. Some of you may want to, be a publisher. I don't know. But at least you will be properly resourced with compositions that are written on a graduate, postgraduate level. That was what I endeavored to create for SAPS, and that is what we have accomplished. So whoever asked the question with regards to the credentializing of these lessons in terms of its creditorial merit, it's going to be the equivalent of a graduate degree in theology, to answer your question. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Hold on a second. Mac has a question.
Okay.
Trying to unmute your Mac.
I'm sorry. That was me, Fanny. I had a question. You actually just answered the one I was just going to ask about seminary. I was going to ask, was this SAPS equivalent to like the seminary or theology degree. So you just answered that. So thank you. And I think Kalaya answered the other two questions that I put in the chat.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell everybody, if you've gone through seminary, I think we got a couple of people here. We have a couple of people here in this forum, I believe, that have gone through seminary. They can tell you that the lessons that you have are much better than what you're going to receive in seminary. And the reason that it is much better than what you're going to receive in seminary, Fanay, is because seminary is designed to teach you on a fundamental level, church history, theology, religion, essentially some of the fundamentals, and to test you on it. The real work takes place in the field. It takes place when you are doing research and study on these topics for specialization purposes. If you're on a doctoral level, that's where you are specializing. If you're on a postgraduate level, right? So this is a degree that you get after you get your master's. So a lot of times people think that's a doctoral, but this is a pre-doctoral degree that you receive. That's when you enter into your specialization. So you're specializing in certain topics. And so there's a lot of field work that you're doing. There's a lot of research that you're doing. So all of this is encompassed in every apologetic lesson that we have. I'll give you a very, very good example. The individual who I've been given a presentation in response to over the past few weeks, I nicknamed him Joe. And I sent this out to the saplings, the correspondence. I guess he wanted to throw in my face that he got some rabbi in Israel to say that, the creator's name is Yehovah, and that the vocalization for the Messiah's name is Yeshua. That is patently false. False. And so when I responded to him, I said, if you wanted to make an argument about the vocalization for the Tetragrammaton, God's name, you should have put that on the table. If you wanted to make an argument about the vocalization for the Messiah's name, you should have put that on the table. You didn't. You simply asked me why I don't use the vocalization of the Tetragrammaton Yehovah. I told you why, because it's unbiblical. This is not what our ancestors called the creator. And Yeshua is a truncated version. In fact, it's an Aramaic vocalization for the Messiah's name. And it's not something that I find very convincing in terms of this was the name for the Messiah. So he wanted to make it an argument in the rear. And I felt that was very dishonest. It was disingenuous. It was like playing games, and I don't do stuff like that. But the point that I'm making is what he has done and where he got this information from, and he's perhaps one of the only individuals that's promoting that God's name is Yehovah. He says, well, when you look at the Aleppo codices and you look at the Leningrad codices, you can see the scribes pointed the creator's name as Yehovah. That is not true, brothers and sisters. Scholarship is not going to sustain that. And so this is what happens when you follow people. He's following Nehemiah Gordon. And what Nehemiah isn't telling people is that when you look at the Babylonian pointing system, the vowels were on top of the consonants that's written in Hebrew. In the Tiberian manuscript scrolls, those vowels are beneath. So Nehemiah is not divulging to his publics the original pointing of these vowels. Is number one. Number two, there are a number of places where Nehemiah just completely overlooks the actual vocalization for the creator's name. He doesn't speak on it because it's going to contradict what he has been proposing. So we have all of that in scholarship. And the only way you can argue that is on an academic level. You can't argue any supposition based upon what I think or what I feel, what I believe. And what I said to Joe, I said, so let me just be clear. You are going to use a medieval text, Leningrad Codices and the Aleppo Codex. You're going to use that to say unequivocally that the children of Israel called the creator Yehovah. He said, yes. Okay. Yeah. That's not going to work, brothers and sisters. So the only way to really engage our argument is that you got to have material that are primary sources that will demonstrate for you what our ancestors called the creator in the pre-exilic age and in the post-exilic age in the first century. So this is where the work comes in. This is where the scholarship, this is where the field work takes place. And all of that is in your SAPS composition.
A lot of folks have questions about, I guess, Hebrew and Greek.
Yes.
And Shakalia responded and said, that Hebrew and Greek, the way he's going to be teaching is from a perspective as if you've never seen Hebrew or Greek before. And then I had responded to someone, saying that, this is biblical Greek and Hebrew. This is not like you're going to be coming out of here talking or speaking to someone in Hebrew. This is from a biblical perspective as well. But someone had asked what could they do to try to get ahead. And I just said, learn the alphabet and the Greek alphabet. Yeah.
Yeah. What Shakalia is going to be. So Shakalia is teaching 12 weeks of Hebrew, 12 weeks of Greek, and he is teaching biblical Hebrew. Mm-hmm. He is teaching biblical Greek. Shakalia is very proficient with regards to what we are trying to achieve and teaching biblical Hebrew and biblical Greek. Why do we want you to know biblical Hebrew and Greek? Because many of your compositions have Hebrew phrases, Hebrew words in them, Greek phrases, Greek words in them. And the way I've written the composition is I will give you, let's just say, I'll give you a Greek word, I give you a Hebrew word, then I'll give you the phonetic vocalization for the word in English. And so what we're trying to do is train you, even as you are getting these apologetic lessons, we're just training your eyes to identify, letters of the Hebrew alphabet, that's translated into English, letters in the Greek alphabet that's translated over into English, right? So this is going to help you remain fresh. Don't just look at the Hebrew word, just don't look at the English word for a Hebrew word. Look at the Hebrew word and then look at the English phonetic. Look at the Greek word and look at the Greek phonetics in English, right? That's going to help you acquiesce linguistically a lot faster than you think. LaShandra, you got a question for me?
No, sorry, you can lower my hand. Kalaya already answered it. Thank you.
Okay, great. Any other questions? Amari? Yeah.
Shalom.
Shalom.
How are you?
Fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, praise Yah. Thank you. I do have a question. For the people that finished SAPS in the first round, I understand that we would still have access to any updated lessons that you had posted. at the beginning of Kalaya's presentation, she mentioned that we wouldn't have access to the board host site. Will you be sending those updated lessons out to us via email, or do we need to access those another way?
No, what I did was I put in by request. Did you see my PowerPoint presentation?
Oh, okay. So we have to actively reach out to you. Got it.
Yeah. And you know, and so for all the new people that's in this forum, I want you to know me. I want you to know me. Okay. I'm a loving person. Okay. But you know, I believe in keeping it real. Yeah, I'm just not going to send it out through a general mailbox or distro or Maria, because I know a lot of people are not going to read it. So I will let individuals know that we have updated a SAPS lesson or XYZ. And if you want it, I'll send it to you so you have access to it. That's what I mean when I say you have access to it. So I'm just not going to go out and make it available. I don't believe in wasting good work, right? So a lot of good people have put in a lot of time in making sure that we are well resourced when it comes down to understanding how to serve our God. Data is important. Information is important. When I read books, I'm looking for not the author's commentary, but I'm looking for his data, his scholarship. Where is he getting his information from? Primary sources, secondary sources. So everything that we have here is rich. And I watch over it like a mother hen is what I'm saying. So no, we're not just sending it out to the ecosphere. No, not going to do that.
Did we mention that Sinaitic Light Bible School students will also have Greek and Hebrew?
No. So
I found this on the web.
Sinaitic Light and so Sinaitic Light students, your facilitators will be teaching you very, very, very basic Hebrew and Greek, 4 weeks, 4 weeks of Hebrew, 4 weeks of Greek, right? We just want to kind of put your eyes on it, let you get familiar with it. It's not intimidating at all. In fact, the program itself, brothers and sisters, I don't know what's been rumored out there, but, you know, people are scared of SAPS, and you shouldn't be.
Right.
I want you to fully embrace learning. That's important to me, and I think it's important to you. There's a lot of things that we don't know that we now have an opportunity to know. And when I say a lot, I do mean a lot. And if you are afraid of taking a learning journey, you're going to miss quite a bit. And I don't want you to miss it. Don't want you to miss it. What else we got?
Will we get a confirmation with what monies we have paid and everything? Yeah, when you make a payment via those links, you'll get a receipt, a confirmation of that. You'll also, if I've received your application and the casting pearls, you will get a response back with that. Now, it is not immediate because I do work too. So, you know, please allow 24 hours for me to respond. And some folks are sending them to Ariad and he sends them to me. And so, yeah, give me a couple of days to make sure that he forwards that to me. And then I document it on my spreadsheet as well.
Yeah, if you've not turned in your Sinaitic Light application, if your SAPS application, send that over to Kalaya so she can go ahead and put you in the database so we can get you situated.
Right. And then once we have all the information, once I have your casting pearls and your application, and you paid for the application fee and then the basics of biblical Hebrew, you will get I'll send you an email with how to access the board host and start receiving your information. And then that's the same for Sinaitic Light Bible Study. Once I get that information, I have another call with the facilitators for Sinaitic Light Bible Study. The next couple of weeks, I've got to schedule that. And after they get situated, then you'll be receiving some information on that as well. All Sinaitic Light Bible School students will receive an email request from Google to get access to this Google Classroom. So if your Google information or emails that you get from Google goes into your trash, please be mindful of that. But we'll make an announcement to let you guys know when those emails will be going out. And you have 24 hours. It may be 48, but I'm telling you, 24 hours to respond and set up your account. Very, very, very important. But if you guys have any questions, you can email me at kalia@nccischarlotte.com. I think that's all I have. You wanted to go over something?
No, I just want to make sure that we got somebody here. Yeah, go ahead. I just got your hand raised.
Oh, Samsung person.
Yeah, Samsung. Samsung.
I'm trying to unmute him or her. Oh, there it is.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the Sinaitic Light Studies program, we have to do the casting pearls. We have to sign up on that and do the application as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you get that? Yeah, that we that allows us to put you in our database.
Okay, so when it comes to, so with the $15 application fee, I'm a little screwy. I typically don't send stuff online. So can I mail it in?
Can you, who's this?
This is Yash Kalavi. I've been hacked several times. I've had my bank account hacked. I've had all my money cleared out. So I do not do anything online with my personal banking information or any of that anymore.
Okay.
So I would prefer the old school way to send you a money order and do it that way than to try to do anything online. I just don't do it.
I understand. Okay. I'll let Kalai work with you on that.
Okay.
See how that works. All right. Just shoot her an email.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Any other questions? Okay. SAPS is quite a bit of information, but brothers and sisters, it is great scholarship and it is what we need. And we're always adding to it. Sinaitic Light is designed for brothers and sisters who, because of life condition, whether it's working 2 jobs, I got, 5, 6, 7 kids, I got a needy husband, or whatever the case may be. I just cannot commit to doing SAPS. Not a problem. We have something for you as well. That is Sinaitic Light. You're going to learn a lot more than you think or more than you are actually anticipating. So it's going to be beneficial for you. Okay. I'm going to close out if we don't have anything else. Clay, am I missing anything?
No, not that I can think of. Right now, I would just have everybody just be on the lookout for, updates, via Shabbat class or email, as we get closer to the start dates of both of these.
All right. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Dennis just send me, the pearls. I sent it out to everybody, but
I'm getting ready to post it. That's what I was getting ready to do because somebody else sent me an email saying they didn't have it, and it's on the website. I'm going to put the link. So just go, click on this link and go down at the very bottom. It has the tuition link, it has the Casting Crowns link, and it also has the application. And that will remain there. So you'll have access to it 24 hours a day. My email is kalaya@nccischarlotte.com. Thanks for the time.
Hey, Sister Fashawn, tell all the brothers in Minnesota I want to see them in SAPS.
And I'm looking forward to Shakalia's Greek and Hebrew.
Oh, that's going to be off the chain.
I know it's going to be good.
Yeah, that is going to be off the chain. It's going to be exciting. Yeah.
No, I can't wait for him
to
debut.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Okay. All right. Well, if you all don't have anything else for me, brothers and sisters, I'm not going to belabor this. I want to thank you for coming out. A lot of folks didn't join us today. I sent them out the email, so I know what next week is going to look like. So anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But anyway, I want to thank you all for coming and joining us and participating in this introduction for Sinaitic Light and SAPS. We're going to have fun, a lot of fun. We're going to learn a lot. I want to remind everyone about the Bible buddies. If you're in SAPS or Sinaitic Light, again, if you need some help with, partnering up with some people, let me know, and I can, try to, get you a partner or put you in a group. Sister Moria, I don't know if she's in this forum this evening, but for Sinaitic Light students, what she is doing is she is allocating facilitators based upon a convenient schedule for Sinaitic Light students. In other words, you may want Monday at 7:00, you may want Wednesday at 7:30, you may want Sunday at 3:00. So you have that type of flexibility in Sinaitic Light. You don't have that in SAPS. SAPS is every Friday night at 7:30. And the lesson is about an hour. Okay. All right. All right. So we don't have any questions. I'll go ahead and close out with prayer, brothers and sisters. If y'all need me, you got my email address and you got my telephone number. Aria is always here for you. Holy and gracious Father Yah, in the name of your Son, Yeshua the Anointed, we come before you, Father Yah, to thank you for this day, to thank you for this community. We want to thank you for these learning initiatives that you have allowed us to create to glorify your holy name. We pray the blessings of mercy and peace and prosperity over all of our brothers and sisters that's here this evening. We pray for the prosperity of our Minnesota extension. We pray for the blessings of our local community. We pray for the blessings of our brothers and sisters who are outside of the covenant that's joining us from Neo-Christendom. We pray the blessings upon the Sinaitic community as a whole. We ask that you watch over us, Father Yah, that you keep us, that you provide us with the security that's needed, that you provide us with the enlightenment that's needed so that we can let our light shine, as we say in our intro, allow our soul to glow. We want to reflect your righteousness, your truth. We want to glorify your holy name, to show our gratitude and our appreciation for all that you have done for us and our life. We can never repay you, holy and gracious Father Yah, for being so generous. We want to thank you again, Father Yah, in the name of our King and Priest, Yeshua HaMashiach ben Dawid, do we pray. Amen. All right, brothers and sisters, let's just stay in touch and let's get all the information and everything in because January 21st, Clyde, January 26th or something. Yeah. What? So what?
Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, that is the tentative week that we'll be starting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. All right, everybody. You all have a good evening. May the blessing of Yah be with you. Shalom.